Hello, welcome to day 7 of the 14-day piano challenge. Today we are putting our first scale hands together. We're starting a new melody. We're learning Lavender's Blue. We are continuing with Happy Birthday, and we're going to be learning something new by ear again. So grab your PDF at the link below and meet me at the piano. We've played our C major scale a few times now. You've had a chance to get used to the fingering. You've had a chance to practice it a few different ways. And now we're going to start playing hands together. So we're going to go really, really slowly. I'm not going to show you hands separately now. You know the drill. If you need to review that, hit pause really fast, play each hand alone, and then let's go really, really slowly the hands together. So we're going to learn in parallel motion. And that means that the right hand thumb is starting on C and the left hand fifth finger is starting on C, and both hands are going up and then back down. And our fingerings are going to be different and we're changing at different points. So long term, you want to try to keep this as steady as possible. The first time through, I'm going to walk you through a few of the changes and then we'll try it together nice and slow, but really steady all the way through. So we have C, D, E, and then the right hand has the first change. The left hand keeps going up to the second finger. Second finger comes over. And now the left hand crosses all the way up to C. Play the C again. And let's go back down. Now here the left hand switches first. Right hand crosses over. And that's it. Work through it that way as many times as you need to. It's so important to get the fingerings lined up correctly. The notes are fairly straightforward because it's just white keys from C to C, but you want to make sure that you really have the right fingering every single time. To troubleshoot a little bit, mistakes that sometimes pop up. And sometimes when we cross over with the right hand, then the second finger doesn't make it all the way over to G. Sometimes the third finger takes over the G instead. And then you run out of fingers. You don't have a finger for the last C. I think that's probably the most common error. The other thing that might pop up is that the right hand forgets to switch on the way up and then you change too late. At least that way you have enough fingers to get to the top. But if you catch yourself with something like that, you do want to freeze and figure out what happened and do a little bit of problem solving. And then on the way back down, it's a similar problem. Sometimes the left hand forgets to switch and then we get a little derailed that way. Now I'll show you in a really steady pace. Feel free to play along with me. So 1, 2, ready, go. Keep practicing that really consistently, pay attention to the fingering, and it'll be so rewarding. The good news is this doesn't pop up in our music very often, but it's an outstanding coordination exercise, which is why I really want you to do it. So we do need scales for our pieces, absolutely, 100%. I am a big advocate for learning that. Hands together, the scales in parallel motion isn't super common in the piano repertoire, but it does so much to advance your coordination skills when you're playing hands together. Please, please, please put some effort into this exercise and you really won't regret it. And now I promise that we're going to be playing something by ear. So the melodies that we're learning by ear will tend to be children's songs, folk songs, things of that nature, things that are widely known. So that basically everybody who's participating in this challenge will be able to recognize the song and won't have to do too much work to learn the melody so that they can play it by ear. Today we're learning Frère Jacques, or this Are You Sleeping, Brother John, however you know it. The title isn't very important. We're starting on C, we're playing in C major, so it's all white keys, and we're just gonna go through it step by step. So I will start with the right hand, just because there will be a thing where we wanna jump into the left hand at the end. And we're starting on C, and then I just want you to sing the melody, da da dun dun da da dun dun, and see if you can figure that out. So we're starting on C, it goes up, up, and then back down, and you might hear that it goes back down to the note that we start on, to that C. That's also maybe another trick. You can keep holding that first note down and see as you sing along if it ever jumps back to that point. Da, da, dun, dun, da, da, dun, dun. So that gets us through this, are you sleeping, are you sleeping? It's the same pattern 2 times, nice and friendly. So let's give that a try. And then from there, then we have Brother John, Brother John. Again, we have the same pattern 2 times. And if you think about it, da, da, dun, dun, da, da, dun, dun, da, da, dun. This, when we skip back up, we're skipping to the E that we played before. Brother John, Brother John. And then we have morning bells are ringing. So it's mostly steps. You might hear that there's a spot where we jump a little bit further. So we have more, we're starting on the note we left off on. Morning bells are ringing. And then you might have to guess where we're jumping. So where do you think we're going? Do you think we're going to D, C, B, A, or G? Let's try. Da, 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 da. That's too far, that doesn't sound right. We're going to C. And then that repeats. Morning bells are ringing. And then at the very end, this is why I would play with the right hand and then jump over to the left hand. We have bum, 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 ding, ding, dong, or whatever the lyrics are there. And there's a trick that a lot of times when we have a jump at the beginning or end of a song, it's going to be going to the 5th note of the scale. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's an interval of a 5th. We're jumping down, and the 5th note of our C major scale is G. So let's see if that works for us here. Ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. That gets us there. So if anything tripped you up in this process, what do? Well, you have patience. This is a new skill where it's something that we're just starting out with. And the nice thing about playing by ear is it gives us a lot of flexibility to just test things out, see how it goes, and start to find our way around the piano a bit intuitively. Eventually, over time, you're going to develop this kind of gut feeling of where you need to jump to. You're going to hear the sound that you need, and your finger's just going to kind of find the key. And that's also great for improving memory skills, which we'll also be talking about in a couple of days. So there are a lot of benefits to doing this, and if you ever miss a jump, just test out. Don't be afraid to try out different things until you find exactly the right note, and then practice. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind, just like when we're learning pieces with music, we want to be thinking about patterns. And if you notice, this song is every single pattern that we have, it's always repeated immediately. We have, are you sleeping? And then exactly the same thing again. Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. The words are also the same, right? So that's maybe a little bit more obvious, but you want to keep track of the patterns that are popping up, and that will also help you figure out things faster as you're playing by ear. It's time for some more rhythm drills. Let's just dive right in. I know that you're really mastering these by this point. Our first example is in 3/4 time, and let's give it a go. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. As is often the case, that will come in very helpful in just a minute when we're starting Lavender's Blue. So if you want, back it up, do it a couple more times. That will prepare you nicely for our new melody for today. And then let's get some more work in on some 8th notes. So this time we're in 4/4 time. And again, let's just give it a go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our new melody for today is Lavender's Blue. I've preached on this a lot. We always want to look before we leap when we're starting a new piece or a new melody, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. So in the version that we have of this song, it's in 3/4 time, and you'll notice that every single row starts actually with exactly the same pattern. Every single row starts with C, G, 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 F, E, D, C, without exception. That's nice to keep in mind because that we see that, okay, half of every single row is exactly the same thing. That saves us lots of work. You'll also notice that this does have 4 rows. And essentially what's happening is we're just repeating the entire song for the last 2 rows. There are some changes in the left hand. You can do those if you feel comfortable with it. We'll talk about that when we get to the left hand. But the right hand is exactly the same thing 2 times in a row, and it's nice to know that the first half of every single row is the same. So once you have the first half down, you have literally half of the song. So let's take a little bit closer look at the right hand then. So we're starting with this interval of a fifth, the newest interval that we've worked through. We have C, G, 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 stepping, stepping. And then we talked about the interval that comes next when we learned Happy Birthday yesterday, the left hand. It's 1 note farther apart than a fifth, it's a sixth. And so the fifth finger just has to reach over 1 key further. Now, if you look at the second row, you'll see that the second row doesn't have this same pattern. So it's just in the first row and the third row that we need this information. So we have C, A, 2, 3. Then in the second row, we know the beginning already. C, G, G, G. And here we have something new again, but it's really good interval practice for us because we see that we're going from C to F. F, E, D, C. So we jump up the fourth and then we step it back down to C. And then of course, we've already said rows 3 and 4 on the right hand are exactly the same. Pause here, practice as much as you need to, and then let's move forward with the left hand. So the left hand is a little bit different than the right hand. It's not exactly the same thing 2 times. You could use the first 2 rows for the last 2 rows or the reverse. If you like how the left hand is written for the first 2 rows better than the end or vice versa, you can absolutely just choose which one you want to do, which one you find more comfortable to play. But I did want to give you a few options here because both are skills that we'll need to be learning, and some things will come more naturally to some people than others. And so just pick your poison, choose which one you want and run with it. I'm going to show you everything as always. So we're starting with C in the bass clef, and the left hand is fairly straightforward. It's just dotted half notes the whole time and no intervals. The first 2 rows, we don't have any intervals bigger than a third. So we're starting on C, C, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, F, 2, 3. And then in the second row, it's almost the same thing, but the last measure, instead of staying on the F, we go back down to E. C, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, E, 2, 3. Like I said, feel free to use that for the ending also. The ending, we have something a little bit different. So now the left hand is going to be playing fifths and fourths. More good interval practice. Lucky you. So we have C and G twice and then C and F twice. And then the fourth row starts exactly like the third row. But then for the very last 2 measures, it's actually, we kind of jump back to row 2. And so instead of having combined intervals, then we just have single notes in the left hand again. So let's give that a try. Let's play it together. I'll count us in. 1, ready, go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's all there is to it. Today's reading quiz is going to be the fastest one that we've had yet. If you find it a little bit overwhelming, drop a comment below and tell me that you want some flashcards, and I'll get in touch and get you sorted out so that you have a way to keep practicing these on your own. But for now, let's give it a try. Here we go. F, E, second. G and D, fifth. C, A, third. G, C, fourth. G, D, fourth. C, B, second. F and C, fifth. F, D, third. G, E, third, lots of thirds. B and F, fifth. C to F, fourth. B, A, second. D, F, third. F, B, fourth. C and G, fifth. Today on Happy Birthday, we're going to keep things fairly brief. We've looked at the patterns, we know the patterns. If you need to refresh anything, go ahead and go back to day 6 and just skip ahead to the happy birthday part. For now, let's just practice it together once, and then you can hit pause, practice it as much as you need. And tomorrow, we're going to start putting these hands together. So we really want to take our hands separately, practice very seriously today. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. If that was too fast, like I said, hit pause, practice again. I think I've told you before that YouTube has this great feature where you can slow the videos down, try putting it on 0.75 and see if you're able to keep up with it that way. And then let's progress with the left hand. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that very ending, let's do that 2 times together and then practice it a couple of times on your own after that. Then do the left hand all the way through at least one more time. So let's do it twice together. 1, ready, even slower, even slower. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, hold. One more time, a little bit faster. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, hold. Congratulations, you've made it halfway through. I know a 14-day challenge is a big undertaking, but I'm so proud of you for doing this. If you've always wanted to play piano, I know that you're making progress with this challenge and that you're seeing that you can actually do it. And I'm just so happy that you have the chance to do this. Let me know how it's going in the comments below, and let me know if you have any questions as always. And until tomorrow when we start week 2, happy practicing.